just waiting on YouTube to catch up. Just launching a stream. I'm going to be doing a brief market update. I'm going to be doing a indicator AMA, right? If you guys have indicator questions, you can feel free to ask whenever it's AMA time. And I'm going to try to keep the market update part pretty brief. I mean, you kind of know what's going on. On that note, what is going on, right? Like, what just happened at 10K? Did the miners decide to sell all their Bitcoin because they want to stop mining? Come on, man. Wake up. There's a 61.8 retracement, right? We talked about this as we got to 10K on 5/7, like 3 days ago. I said I was going to short 10K. I'm going to keep my longs open. But because we're at a 61.8 retracement, right? Right here, there's going to be liquidity at play. Up in this range, I did think we are going to go to like 10.1, so I closed a part of my short, but also moved my June stop to entry, or not to entry, but in a profits. And like the leg down was pretty profitable. It was good. Some of you guys caught it, some of you guys didn't. If you guys didn't hedge, right? If you guys didn't hedge this 10K, and you're in VIP, or you're in these partial hedge, 3/4, right? Stuff we talked about. You're not managing your risk properly, right? That being said, yes, we did pull back from 10K. And what's up, Paris? And where are we now, right? So we're below the 50%. We're below the 50%. I don't want price to hold below, right? I want to see price get back above that 50% fib, back above 88.42. And why would I say that if I said I just shorted 10K? Well, yesterday was the 2 hour and the drop, right? Phantom just straight up gave us a buy signal, flat 8,000, 81.11, right? That was a buy signal on our Phantom script indicator, and I signaled that for a long. For you guys that asked me the stream before, how do you pick your futures, premiums, and discounts? Well, if you long June with me, right when I clicked buy, it was at 8,000, so it was at a discount, right? And then when we shorted December, it was at a premium. And then that premium discount made me quite a bit of money. It should have made you guys quite a bit of money too. That's kind of the perfect example. What's up, Katrina? I don't have any videos on buying and selling options on Deribit. No, I don't. I do that very rarely, right? I very rarely trade options. I should have sold 10K calls when we got to 10K. It's just, I usually wait for like a liquidity grab and then buy calls, right? That's all I do with Deribit options. Anyways, so we shorted 10K, we longed 8K. I did signal a secondary long, and that got stopped out in today's shakeout, or in today's dip, however you guys want to refer to it, right? So that was a short. We're gonna make that red. And ironically, before I go into like the chart, I had tweeted a tweet saying, hey, like it was before 10K here. I have it pulled up. Some of the guys like Exit Scam was shorting down here in this range, like 77, like net short. I'm like, there's two targets. There's 8K. And then there's 10K, and they're the 261.8s. Don't short before then. That's where you want to short. So we've kind of laid this out since April 27th. That's been the target. That's been the game plan. It worked out to the T. So hopefully we can continue this hot streak. I ditched the red shirt. I'm not net shorting today. I got the shark shirt on. So hopefully we can shark this market back up, right? And kind of go back up into the 10K range. So that was our short. This was our long, right? My short is still open. I just counter traded it and then some, secure that gain. And now, formation wise, like this is not a bear flag, right? Maybe this was. So at one point it was a bit of a bear flag, and then that broke down. And wicks are price rejection, right? So we're still getting pretty good support over here. I think that 8100 buy yesterday should be good to go back up to 10K. The telltale would be a close above this long-term 50% fib, right? I want to see close above 8060 and not rejection, just close and get back up and trade above. At that point, we should experience another up move. That being said, it's all over the place. The CME gap, that's on, yeah, the CME gap's still at 10,000 plus, right? So at some point, we're going to go back, right? We're going to go back up. Pretty big gap, really significant one. So I think we're going to fill this gap. But I don't, if you don't close above 8860, we break back down, then I'll be hunting more longs. But ideally, I really want to see us turn back around. I think this is potentially a bear trap, right? Because, traders tend to rush, right? Especially speculators. Okay, speculators tend to rush to making decisions, right? And personally, I think they see this leg down and they're expecting something like what happened previously over here, right? You see a big leg down, they're like, oh, short it, we're going back down to zero. It's a Ponzi, right? They overreact. And you guys remember the second time oil crashed, I said long everything, right? Because there's a lot of talk about, hey, oil's crashing again, short everything, short Bitcoin, short the S&P. Well, trading based on trauma is not a good idea, right? And until we have like more of a definite down confirmation, I'm still trading bullish, but I still have my short open from 10K. No, so when I hedge, right, I hedge short on Santa Fe. What's up, man? You asked me last stream about where would this, if we short 10K, where is it going to turn around, and last night I put up that 8K buy, 8100. Right, back to pairs. So I shorted December. I'm still long on September, and now I'm long on June. I used June to counter, so I'm flat even at 8K, and then I opened a perp long. I shouldn't have done that. I should dedicate 2 contracts for long, 2 contracts for short, right? And so don't do what I did. Keep 2 contracts for net long, 2 contracts for short. But since there's 4 of them, most of the time it's going to be 3 contracts. You have to be really picky on how you position yourself in your averages. All right. That about covers BTC. Today in like the mid ranges on the drop. So I signaled down here yesterday, right? And then that one got stopped out, but the previous long didn't. Ironically, we should have longed it again, right? I posted in BitMEX Savagery saying, hey, if this fails, it's going to dump, but it didn't fail. It actually sustained, right? And yeah, I'd like to see an up move. I'd like to see a close above 88. Anyways, that about wraps it up for BTC, unless you guys have questions. Going over ETH USD, Ether, Coinbase. ETH is kind of doing something very similar to BTC. This is really like ironic, right? Yesterday during the dip, I put up this chart and I said, this was the 4 hour of this move, and it's looking like the daily chart during the liquidity grab, right? During when it hit 98. You zoom out, right, and you got this descending trend line, right? That very much reminds me of today. Once again, for ETH to go back in a bullish territory, it needs to go up to close above that 190 mark, right? And speaking of, this was also a 61.8 retracement. I was looking for the bigger one, but I did signal the hedge on Ether, right? We did signal the hedge over here. The counter cams long from down there, and if your stops at entry and it broke down, you should have made profit. I didn't have a stop on one of my longs, so the ETH dip wasn't as good to me as the BTC dip. So yeah, I do want to see recovery on both ends. That's what I want to see. Let's run like a harmonic scan on BTC. So some of these indicators to work, especially since we're going to do an AMA shortly. That's the daily, right? Daily still held up. Also the hourly, right? The hourly came right down to the buy zone, and you had like an indecision. But if you longed here, right, on the 2-hour signal, now we're looking for a move above the midline. Once you're above the midline, we can assume that the chart is bullish. If it doesn't go above, then we're likely going to revisit 81. There's two sides to the market. Let's look at the 30. Interesting. So the 30, that gave you a good long, and now it's saying there's a possible bat, right? But you don't want to trade an incomplete harmonic, right? So this would be a point where one would want to hedge. It's not saying it's guaranteed to go up there, but if it does go up there, that would be a possible reversal zone. 15. 15 is showing something similar too. I don't think we're done going up. All right. Let me take some questions. When you're looking to close your short on BTC, what cover short you're looking for? So that short at 10K, I'm probably not gonna close it. I just, instead of taking profit on it, I countered it with a long, right? I'm on Deribit, so my unrealized profit is available to trade with. So whatever I gain on the short, I countered with a June future, and I'm probably gonna move that stop to entry, right? Just because I'm already net long, right? I'm net long, and as we go up there and it gets stopped out at entry, that's fine. But in case we don't go up and don't stop out at entry, maybe keep coming down, I still want to have the short there. So if my long stop out again, I'm making money on the drop, right? So to answer your question, I'm not going to close that short. Instead, I countered it. I hedged it. ZRX. Man, that coin's up like 100%. I mean, Phantom just sold it on the daily. I wouldn't buy anything that already pumped 100%, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's a bull flag. And it might go on a rager, it might go on a tear. I don't know what's fueling this pump, if it's just like pure pump and dump, or if it's really a rally. I mentioned like 2-3 alts last stream, and they're doing pretty good, right? We were at 10K, they were still low, and they both like started going back up. Tezos and Link. You know, you want to buy things when they're down, Delilah, because look at that 720. You need Phantom. The good time to buy ZRX was here and here. Okay? Yeah, it's up 100%. I mean, it could keep going, but ideally, like, look for a real pullback, like a 50% retracement or something. Yeah, I mean, if you go back down to here, right, 0.80, I'll drop some price tags, you can write them down, get ready. If this harmonic plays out, right, I mean, this is where you want to bid 36 and 31. Thoughts on shorting SPY? I would not short into the Fed, man. I've been saying this for months. Since 326. Said stop shorting. Personally, I'm not shorting. Let me explain to you what happened with the S&P. You can short the S&P, but I'm not shorting the S&P. There's this inverse head and shoulders here, right? And at this point, I said we're long and you're going to stay long. We're going to target the 61.8. When bam, what happened? It hit the 61.8. This fib is broken. It's not broken. It was a down extension, not a retracement. It was showcasing another concept of that, right? So whenever we did this inverse head and shoulders, I'm just going to go ahead and draw the neckline so I don't spend time drawing the formation that we all know what it looks like, right? When we did this, right, I started targeting the 61.8, right? And when we dipped, I added, we got up here, took profit a little bit, hedged a little bit, still have longs. If we look at ES now, ES1, oh man, I was like, there's no way it's moving that hard yet, because it's actually going up in Sunday futures. Move drawings. I did post this flag, and I said, you know, it's a flag, it's going up. Remove drawings. Let's go back to the daily, right? So here, futures are trying to go back up, right? The market is not, I mean, the Corona priced in. You can't skin a sheep more than once, right? That's an old saying. I do think this is going to go to 303 S&P price, right? I've got a lot of confluence there. This is a bull flag, guys. This is on the weekly. Like, I think we're going back up. I think this was a liquidity grab, and I've been saying this was a liquidity grab. And if you look over here, this was a December 19, 2018 crash, Christmas Eve. This was a liquidity grab. What happens after a liquidity grab? The market can rally higher, right? Look over here. New low, we go on extended run. New low, extended run. So one of the biggest mistakes that traders make, right? And as we saw this on BTC like 2 weeks ago. They see a liquidity grab and they think it's a bear break. And failing to identify a liquidity grab as a liquidity grab or misidentifying as a bear break is really expensive. They keep shorting and it keeps going against them. And so back to tell you the S&P story. Drew, you're in VIP. Man, I would 6 to 8 months puts. I think you're gonna end up making a donation. So down here, this is where the Fed started interfering, right? And I still think right now the Fed is the biggest buyer, right? So I don't think that the Fed's going to step in like they did in December, right? And prop the market up only so people can dump into them, right? I just don't think that's the case. Countries are reopening, right? Businesses starting to reopen, and you know, you look at some of these stocks, and you look at QQQ, look at Microsoft, right? I'm long on Microsoft, targeting higher. All these stocks that were in a blow off, I think they're gonna go back into a blow off. Think is this big drop on the S&P as like a big drop on BTC's 2017 bubble, right? Every time it dropped down, it went up higher. I think we're in a bubble, right? There's a lot of exuberance, and people are just buying. It might not just be people, the Fed, buybacks. Companies are still buying back their own stocks, right? I mean, let's look at Shopify. One of you guys mentioned Shop a few weeks ago, and you know, that was my target, right? It was up here, it was like 650 or 660, 658. Went up, kissed it a few times, came back down. Now it's blowing off. Like, this isn't This isn't recession, man, right? This isn't recession. Are we gonna enter a recession? We could be, but I think the Fed's gonna print their way out of it, especially with Trump in office. Look at the QQQ, right? Full-blown recovery, man. Full-blown recovery. Above the 61, but the Nasdaq is leading the market, right? You wanna put 6 month, you wanna buy 6 month out puts on something like this? No. Go back to my December publication, right? I was expecting a drop before a liquidity grab before an extenuation of the 2.618. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and draw it, and then that will cover indices. And that'll tell you why I'm expecting a move back to 303. And literally all this is the big fib. Okay? And now we'll go another hourly. You want to know why I'm expecting 303? Yeah, let's hope these numbers line up. I think I did on... Yeah, I mean that. Right here, the 301, 301, right? Somewhere around there. I'm expecting a move up there. If you want to short there, fine, scalp it down, right? But don't buy a short, don't get in a short position and think you're the guy from the Big Short, right? Time and time again, this Fed has burnt shorts so many times, man. All right. Well, I don't think March lows, March. You want to go back down in here, man? If you think the S&P is going back to 220, I don't know, man. I think that's crazy. That's like saying Bitcoin's going to go right back down to 3K or 30, whatever that low was. Oh, man. Okay, so... Alright, Tika's back doing his thing. Yeah, it's going to come back down like 50%. Wait till it retraces 50% on Tika. We don't. Indicator based on with Gann, time, and price. It is not based off Gann, time, and price. Alright, now taking indicator AMA type questions. Alright, hit me with some indicator questions, guys. And hey, Drew, while you bring up Ray, go ahead and write why you think Ray would be shorting down here. And then Trading Junkie, if you're wondering about Phantom is based on liquidity levels. And we do have a Brita paper on it, as soon as we published it. I'll send you a link to that paper so you can read up. Alright, fam bam, taking questions. Delilah, back to alts, looking at things that haven't pumped that are strong, right? Look at Link started the move and Tezos started the move. Metal hasn't started the move, and Metal has been, a strong contender for a break. It was it's been one of the biggest moves. I actually have an open signal on this one. And I'm holding Metal right now. Not hodling, but I'm expecting to go back up. But, this thing has tried to break out a lot of times still. Yeah, and then Link, right? Link's just been the strongest asset class this year, right? Literally Link USD think it's it's still the top performing asset of the year, 2019, 2020, January, December. Yeah, year to date, I think it's definitely one of the top performing assets. 122. What's Bitcoin? I'm just looking from like January 1st. $28. Yeah, you know, stick to like high performing assets. The thing about positioning yourself in Link, right? You might not after after like a BTC run up to the 61.8, BTC is gonna pull back. BTC is 61.8 right here as I was streaming, right? And that's a really good time to enter because you're getting a discount on your Link, right? Using BTC instead of thinking USD wise. You need to hear that. Do I have an indicator that shows? I do. It's on my old TradingView account. I think it's called Weekend Gravity. Yeah. It's on my personal TradingView. If you want access to that, just send me your TradingView ID and it's a free one. Right? Boom. That's the gap. Yeah, I'll put up a link for it. It's on our Medium. It's called Cracking the Market Code. If you just go to Medium, Coin Observatory, or just in, it's like one of the third or fourth publication now. Well, guys, I'm not getting much indicator AMA questions. I was hoping for more. Anyways, thank you for tuning into the stream. Trade safe, hedge your bet, right? Hedge your bet, and use stops, right? If I didn't have a stop on my June long yesterday, I wouldn't have been profitable on the dip, and I wouldn't be wearing my shark shirt, right? So make sure to use some stops, right? And here, you know, this starting to look at the hourly, it's starting to look like possibly maybe a descending bottoming wedge that's already above. It's not a clear formation looking at the closes, right? But it's not a bear flag, and that's what's important. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not on Discord, click the link, hop into Discord. If you guys are not in VIP, want to get into VIP, on the 15th, the COVID-19 coupon code expires. So if you want half off your first month, you can punch that in at checkout and save 50%. Other than that, that about wraps it up. Thank you guys for tuning in.